Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about something that I think is actually very, very important, and I've been actually wanting to talk about it since I pretty much came up with this channel, and that is the topic of fan films. Now, fan films are essentially short films that take properties or well-known characters, stuff like that people who are not in big Hollywood studios go out and just make. They can film it on like a GoPro, they can film it on a DSLR camera, they can film it on semi-professional cameras like the Red Epic Dragon or the Red series. Basically anything, any person who loves a franchise or a property enough to go out with their friends or people they know, colleagues, classmates, whatever, and go and make a fan film can be anywhere from, who knows, like 7 minutes to an hour and a half. But the dedication that it takes to make these films is insane. And I'm going to be talking about two fan films in particular, both of which I'll leave the links to in the description box below. But I think they're very important, and I'm going to be discussing them and why I think they are so important. First up is a fan film called Power Rangers, Power/Rangers. This film came out in February of 2015. It was directed by Joseph Kahn, who does a ton of music videos. He's directed some commercials. And he also directed 2004 film Torque, which starred Ice Cube. Power Rangers is a short film that's only about 14 minutes long, plus credits, so it's only actually about 10-11 minutes. But it's just a really short film that was shot on a Red Epic Dragon camera. Now, this is a camera that's pretty much semi-professional. It's a very high-quality camera, but the cost of it is much lower than that of like a big camera for like a studio. Which was actually, it's much more affordable, especially since considering that most of the budget for this entire project came out of the director's pocket himself. The film was made because Kahn actually wanted to take a ridiculous property and turn it into something really cool, do a lot of fan service to it. It was a dream project of his to take something that was more or less ridiculed throughout like its entire lifespan, some ridiculous property like Power Rangers, and make it something a little bit more adult, a little bit more grown up, something that fans could actually appreciate, and to be honest with you, it's an amazing short film. So the story that happens in this Power Rangers short film is that the Machine Empire has essentially beat the Power Rangers, and the Power Rangers have disbanded. Now, they've gone their separate ways. This is the story a bit of how each one is doing their own thing, and they're slowly being killed off one by this mysterious person. Now Kim is being interrogated to find out who this mysterious person is and where the location of Tommy is. I don't really want to tell you much more of the story beyond that because there's a bit of a twist ending, but let me tell you, in 14 minutes, this short film blew my mind. It was a Power Rangers conclusion, and it gave a lot of answers to things that a lot of fans wanted. It gave a much more adult version of where these Rangers went after they were teenagers. It just gave a ton of fan service that was really recognized. It was something that really blew up on the internet because of how dark and gritty it was, and because of just how overall good it was. It had amazing action sequences. It was dark. It was gritty. It had a great story. All of this compacted into 14 minutes. It's just amazing. And also, let me mention that this film currently has over 18.5 million views on YouTube. Now, of course, when this film first came out, it got a ton of recognition, but Saban, the rights owners of Power Rangers, basically had it removed for copyright infringement, which, is cool, I guess, because they technically own those characters, but these people love them so much that they went out and made their own thing. I get why they did it, but at the same time, they eventually put it back up because it got such a big following and everybody wanted it so bad. It was back up on the internet within 2 days. That's insane. That's a ton of power that the ton of like fans that wanted this to see this video and wanted this to be out in the world. It's insane. Even some of the original Power Rangers that were in the original series that some of these characters are based on, even they liked it. That's insane. To even get the original people to like it is astounding. This film does so many things right that I think Hollywood should really take some recognition to. But of course, all Hollywood cares about is this. And this. And this. The story was original. It had a ton of great action and stunt work. It does amazing fan service. It gives you answers to things. It does so many things right, which I think is very, very important, because if you don't do it right, if you don't do it with love, and you don't like appreciate and love a franchise, and then you just do it for a paycheck, that it's sort of, there's this disconnect, and you can tell when somebody doesn't love a franchise, because that's the most critically acclaimed, like the critically like ridiculed, films are the ones that you can really see these people didn't actually care about this franchise or these characters. But you can tell they cared about these characters. So where am I going with this? I think that a lack of studio presence and a lack of a ton of people trying to influence their ideas on this project, producers, directors, writers, the people that are funding the film, the production studios, I think a lack of that was really able to, although this film did have directors, writers, all of that stuff, producers, people that put money together to make this film, I think because that big budget Hollywood sort of stigma attached to it, because that presence wasn't there, we got something that was absolutely phenomenal. We got to see something that was made with love. These characters were made with love. This film was made with love because it was dark, it was gritty, it was adult. It gave people and fans of the original series something that they wanted, which was a more realistic, action-packed, great story of the original Power Rangers, and that's what this film gave it. Clearly, fan service and dedication can make a big difference. I mean, this was a 14-minute short film. Imagine if they had the budget enough to make it into a big Hollywood movie. So this film had 18.5 million views, over 18.5 million views. Let's break that down. Let's make that the average ticket of being about $10. Some are more, some are less, IMAX, matinee showing, stuff like that. But let's just ballpark it at $10. That means that if this film was made into a big Hollywood studio production, it would make $185 million. Now that is on par, if not exceeding, what most big Hollywood movies make nowadays. Of course, 18.5 million views doesn't always equal, like maybe multiple people saw it in multiple viewings, but people go to the theater multiple times to see films. This rivals a big budget film, if it would put into that context. Because if it was made into a big Hollywood film that was 2 hours long, that actually had a decent budget, had a lot of love fan service put into it, then it could make $185 million. It could be a massive film on par with films that are currently out today. Would it be the Captain America Civil War breaking $1 billion in like 2 weeks? Probably not. But the amount of fan service that it could do and the amount of love that could be put into it can really show you how well something can be received. Unlike a Batman vs. Superman, or even something like Ninja Turtles that, although it may have fan service or people who love the franchise, maybe they don't like it, or because the studio's involvement, they sort of ruined it, or because like people are so critical nowadays, maybe it would ruin it. But I think that taking this idea would be an amazing thing to do if these people could get jobs into these massive Hollywood production studios, into these massive movie studios, and then really expand out and make films based on the properties they love, and it would show through, and I think that would make movie-going experiences much more worth it. Let's move on to the second short film that I'm going to be discussing, and that is Darth Maul Apprentice. Once again, this is a YouTube short, which I'm going to leave the link to in the description box down below. Definitely check it out. This short film, which was released in March of 2016, clocks in at just under 18 minutes of runtime. It was written, directed, and produced by a gentleman named Sean Bow, who studies film in Germany. Unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot known about like the production costs or who funded it necessarily, but there is a great little video attached to the short film Darth Maul Apprentice. I believe it's also in the description of how they made the film. This film was actually shot in 18 days in Germany and the Netherlands. Just principal photography alone. Now, not only that, but it was filmed on Red Epic Dragon, I believe, or Red Epic cameras. And not only that, but also like digital cameras, smaller cameras as well. But the places in which they filmed, they had tours, runners, and explorers constantly going through the set, like not through the background or like through the middle, but there are certain areas where they shot where people would be walking through, so they would have to constantly stop. They also had to constantly deal with like rain delays. Definitely watch the little documentary that's in the description of that video as well, because that's a very interesting video on how this short film was made, which I think is even more, almost as interesting, if not more interesting, than the short film itself. So essentially the story to Darth Maul Apprentice is that Darth Maul has to go and fight and kill these Jedis out and on this forest-ish planet. And in order to do so, by doing so, he's going to end up becoming a Sith Lord. That's essentially the entire premise of this short. It's 18 minutes, but it's mostly fighting. But the stunt work is amazing, the photography is amazing, just the cinematography is beautiful, the colors are amazing, the lightsabers, I would say, the effects of the lightsabers would rival even that of the films that are out now, even like Star Wars, The Force Awakens. It definitely rivals even like the prequels. This film, the visual effects and stunt work were phenomenal. And I think what's so great about this short film is that it gives us a little bit more time and a little bit more action sequences with a character that I don't think quite got that correct amount of backstory or really anything, and that was Darth Maul from Episode 1, Phantom Menace. This was probably one of the most, visually, the most amazing characters that I've ever seen in the Star Wars universe. He's just very intriguing. His double-sided lightsaber, which we had never seen before. And there's just so many intriguing things about this character, and it was so nice to spend time with a character that we didn't really know, but at the same time we wanted to know more about, that was unfortunately part of those terrible prequels of the Star Wars films. So to be able to spend more time with that, see some of the action, see some of the stunts that they perform in this film, it was absolutely beautiful, and they did a phenomenal job of doing so. So what all this boils down to is I think that these two short films, there are tons of short films out there, fan films especially, but these two in particular are amazing examples of what people in the industry or wanting to get into the industry of Hollywood are doing, and I think that they deserve recognition. Because if films were made with the amount of love and style that these films were made with, into big budget, 2.5 hour superhero comic book films, what have you, I think that this would be a game changer for Hollywood. Instead of getting mainly visual effects and terrible story, we could combine the two. We could get fan service, an amazing story, great visuals. We can really get everything we want in one package if we get the people who love properties and franchises and who want to see it done right, and get them ahead in Hollywood versus the people who just simply don't care about a franchise. And if they can get into the industry and get towards the top, then maybe we'll finally be able to start liking films more. Maybe things that we want to be good will be less critically ridiculed on like Rotten Tomatoes or even by critics like me. Maybe something can change in Hollywood if we can get these people that put so much love and fan service into their projects into the forefront of the industry. I think that would be amazing to see. I think it would be especially amazing because if we can get these types of people into the industry and towards the front of the industry where they're making these big budget Hollywood films, then maybe they can create something that fans will love. And because the fans love it, they'll spend money on it. And that's what the studio loves. So the studio will spend more money trying to get more people to see it and love it, and they'll continue that sort of train, hopefully, of people bringing in people who really love these franchises, which I think is extremely important. So guys, that's pretty much my rant about fan films. I know this isn't my typical video, but I think this was something that was very important, and I've had on my mind for quite a while, so I think it was needed to be said. Like I said, I left the links to both of these films, Power/Rangers, the unofficial bootleg of the Power Rangers film, and Darth Maul Apprentice. I left the links to both of those in the description box below. Give them a watch. I know they're only like 14 minutes and like 18 minutes long, and so hopefully you can have some fun with it. You can really see the love and attention to detail that were put into these films, especially if you're fans of these franchises. But if you're not, then maybe you can just appreciate good filmmaking and good storytelling. But go give them a watch. Maybe come back on here. Leave a comment in this comment section down below. Let me know what you think about them. Let me know if you think that they can be game changers. Let me know if there's any fan films that you've seen other than these two that do just as good of a job or have great fan service and great scenes, great action, great story. Leave that in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like always, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos. And we'll see you guys in the next one.